My friends, there's no greater adversary in life than our own selves. We are the ones who sabotage our dreams, undermine our goals, and erect mental roadblocks on the path to our potential. Today, I'm here to implore you to stop getting in your own way. Each of us has been blessed with incredible gifts, talents, abilities, skills that could elevate us to unimaginable heights if we dared to embrace them. But instead of spreading our wings and soaring, we clip our own feathers and wonder why we never take flight. We come up with every excuse in the book as to why success eludes us, when the only thing holding us back is our own lack of commitment to making things happen. Think about the last time you set out to accomplish something meaningful, something that stirred your heart with passion. Maybe it was starting your own business, going back to school, getting in shape, writing that book, or finding a more rewarding career. What happened? Where did the flame of inspiration go? For most, it got smothered by the wet blanket of self-doubt, fears, and old limiting beliefs. We tell ourselves, who am I to think I can do that? That's for other more talented people. We resign ourselves to playing small because it's comfortable and safe. But let me ask you, does being comfortable and safe create a life you can be proud of? Does it light you up with joy and a sense of purpose each morning? My friends, you deserve more than just getting by. You were put on this earth to be something far greater than a hollow shell of your potential. That inner voice whispering dreams of adventure, accomplishment, and leaving a mark on this world. That's the real you crying out to be freed. And it's time to stop suffocating it with the heavy rocks of doubt, fear, and realistic thinking. When you look at the great achievers throughout history, the visionaries, the leaders, the difference makers, they all had one thing in common. They didn't get in their own way. They tuned out the voice of doubt, ignored the naysayers, and forged ahead with an unshakable belief in their ability to turn their biggest dreams into reality. Take someone like Walt Disney, for example. As a young man with artistic talent, but very little money, everyone told him his dreams were way too big and crazy. No one is going to pay to watch a cartoon mouse. They sneered, but Walt Disney didn't get in his own way. He refused to put a cap on his ambition or let other people's limiting beliefs infect his mindset. Through persistence, creativity, and an unflinching belief in himself, he built an entertainment empire that brought joy to billions. And that's the power of getting out of your own way. Magic can happen. Opportunities will appear, connections will be made, skills will blossom in ways you could have never imagined when you were shackled by your own self-imposed limitations. Getting out of your own way requires cultivating an unbreakable belief in yourself. It means trading your fear of failure for an appreciation of failure's role as a stepping stone to growth. It means valuing life experience over credentials or societal markers of success. It means taking daily, consistent action without letting setbacks or criticisms from the cynics derail you. This doesn't mean being thoughtlessly arrogant or believing you'll be amazing at everything you try. Getting out of your own way simply means refusing to decide your own fate before you've even really started. Give yourself a fighting chance. Don't slam the door on your dreams by obsessing over all the things that could go wrong or reasons why you're not qualified. Those are just flimsy excuses your fearful mind manufactures to keep you cuddled up in the warm blanket of complacency. My dear friends, ask yourselves, at the end of this precious life, would you rather have a guilt-free heart knowing you swung for the fences, or a heart weighed down with regrets over dreams, deferred out of self-imposed doubts and psychological barriers? Don't let your greatest critic be the person staring back at you in the mirror. Silence that inner heckler. Stop getting in your own way. The path to your greatest self always starts with a single step, a first try, a willingness to let go of the shackles keeping you mentally enslaved to a life of mediocrity and playing small. And I'm telling you, once you get in the habit of giving yourself permission to take that first step over and over again, it's like a dam breaking loose. Your confidence builds, your belief in yourself strengthens, you start feeling alive in a way you never thought possible. And as you bravely keep stepping out of your comfort zones and stop self-sabotaging, the most serendipitous thing happens. The right people, resources, and opportunities are naturally drawn into your life. Why? Because you've stopped getting in your own way. You've opened yourself up to inspiration, serendipity, and allowed the universe to conspire in helping make your visions a reality. Things simply can't come together in a big way until you first get out of your own way. Life is too precious and far too fleeting to spend it as a hostage to your limiting thoughts, trapped by your fears, poisoned by self-doubt. Don't let those inner enemies keep calling the shots. Make the decision today to face them down, to stop granting them the power to tame your ambitions and suppress your dreams. Because here's the harsh truth. No one is going to give you permission to live the life you deserve. No one can hand you the courage, belief in yourself, and commitment required to stop getting in your own way. Those are internal battles each of us has to wage for ourselves. So start fighting for the life you were born to live, one of audacious adventure, of contribution, of meaning. Refuse to let your fears, doubts, and excuses keep bullying you into a life of regret. My wish for you is to get swept up in the empowering cycle of going for your dreams, taking risks, stumbling, evolving, and accomplishing things that 10 years ago you would have dismissed as impossible. Because once you get that momentum, once you've defeated the biggest enemy of playing small and get out of your own way, there's simply no telling what you can do. You are given a spark of divinity, a brilliant light that makes each of you unique and capable of greatness. But it's up to you to fan that spark, to nurture it into an inextinguishable flame. And you can only do that by throwing off the wet blankets of fear, doubt, and disbelief in yourself once and for all. My challenge for you today is to pinpoint one dream, one ambition that you've kept on the back burner because you've gotten in your own way, letting fear and limiting beliefs sabotage your pursuit of it. Make the decision right here. And now that's starting today. You're committed to stop getting in your own way. No more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect time. Take that first little baby step and watch how it grows into an unstoppable force. Yes, getting in your own way is easy. Playing small and suffocating your potential feels safer. But a life of meaning, accomplishment, and adventure, that only comes when you stop erecting roadblocks in your mind. So make the choice today to see what incredible things show up in your life when you finally stop getting in your own way. My friends, getting out of your own way is one of the greatest skills you can cultivate in this life. But let me be clear, it's not something you master overnight. It's an ongoing process of catching yourself when the doubt dragons and fear monsters start stirring up trouble in your mind. Those voices will always be there trying to persuade you that your ambitions are too lofty, that you should just settle for the safe, mediocre path laid out for you. But you have the power to decide whether you'll let them call the shots or not. Every single day, you'll face that choice. Am I going to listen to the negative committee jabbering away in my brain? Or am I going to forge ahead with belief in my visions and unshakable faith that I'm capable of making them reality? The more you choose the latter, the more you train your brain to stop getting in your own way. It's like building a mental muscle. At first, it feels incredibly difficult to silence the doubt and push past the fear. But keep at it, keep flexing that courage muscle, and it gets stronger and easier over time. Eventually, you'll reach a point where getting in your own way is no longer a default habit. Believing in yourself and your ability to achieve the impossible just feels natural. Now, that's not to say there won't still be hiccups, false starts, and setbacks along the way. In fact, I'd advise you to embrace those failures as proof that you're getting out of your own way. You can't make true progress without a few missteps here and there. The key is learning from them, letting them sharpen you into a more resilient, determined version of yourself. Because in many ways, our failures can be our greatest motivators for change if we allow them to be. Getting knocked down a few times wakes you up to the brutal truth that maybe, just maybe, you have been getting in your own way. Those disappointments force you to confront the ways you've been subconsciously undermining yourself, the fears you've been clinging to, the lack of commitment and hustle. So instead of crumbling and resigning yourself when you fall, choose to let those failures be an empowering wake-up call. Get back up with a stronger resolve than ever before to not let temporary stumbles keep you from steadily getting out of your own way for good. Hear me clearly on this. No one succeeds their way straight to the top without bumps along the road. In fact, I'd argue that the greatest achievers out there are those who failed more times than you can count. Their path was a zigzaggy, winding road riddled with setbacks, missteps, and misstarts. But the key distinction is they simply refuse to treat those as detours that send you back to your starting point. No, for them every dead end or wrong turn was simply a required course correction that ultimately puts you on an even truer. So during those times when it feels like you're getting in your own way, yet again, don't treat it as an excuse to get derailed entirely. See it as proof that you're trying, that you're stretching yourself beyond the comfortable limits of your former limited identity. Then dust yourself off. Study what you can learn from that latest failure, and keep on putting one foot in front of the next along that winding, glorious road that leads to your greatest self. Because living at that level, embracing the mindset of constant growth, of seeing life's inevitable setbacks as incredible learning opportunities, that's how you stop getting in your own way for good. It's about developing the discipline and grit to keep moving forward, even when it feels impossibly hard or like you're backtracking compared to where you want to go. You have to commit yourself to the process, not just fixate on the outcome or results you want. Sometimes the path will feel exhilarating and you'll be flying high from one breakthrough after another. And other times you'll feel battle-worn and weary. That's the natural ebb and flow of dismantling the walls you've built around your potential and stretching beyond your limited self. The key is treating it all as part of the journey, as critical milestones that are forging you into the prototype of who you're meant to become. It's not complicated, but it's also not easy. Shedding those old mindsets, releasing the crutches of fear and doubt that have kept you playing small. It takes tremendous courage and dedication. But I'm telling you, even when it's hard, the willingness to keep getting out of your own way is worth every ounce of grit it demands. Just think about those people who have inspired you most, who are out there making a dent in the universe and living a life that lights them up with enthusiasm each day. I can assure you, each of them has mastered the art of not getting in their own way. They've chosen to relentlessly stomp on the dandelion seeds of doubt sprouting in their minds before they can take root. They've conditioned themselves to ride out the inevitable storms and plateaus on the road to any great success. Most of all, they developed a trust in themselves, in their skills and resourcefulness, to not let anything stop them from realizing their visions, especially something as silly as their own mental barriers and limiting beliefs. My wish for you today is that you find that same level of commitment to stop getting in your own way, that you see this not as some far-off destination to be reached, but as a daily practice to embrace, to approach each new day with the question, how can I get out of my own way today? How can I act in spite of my fears and doubts instead of letting them call the shots? Ask those questions and watch how it shifts your perspective. Suddenly, you may find yourself seizing opportunities you previously would have shied away from out of self-doubt. You'll choose the braver, riskier path instead of the comfortable, limited. You'll welcome new challenges that stretch your capabilities rather than dismissing them before you've even tried. That's the magic that happens when you stop getting in your own way. You start living from your highest self instead of being shackled by your scared, insecure self. And the possibilities that open up for you then, well, they're simply breathtaking. So get out there and start dismantling those self-imposed roadblocks. Starve your fears of attention and stop letting them have the final say. Defend your right to keep evolving, learning, and growing into the biggest version of yourself. Sure, you'll make mistakes along the way. We all do, but that's okay. as long as you pick yourself back up and refuse to let those stumbles turn into detours that sends you retreating into your limited mindset once again. Most of all, get out there and start actually doing instead of just dreaming. Dreams alone won't get you out of your own way. It's the courage to take action, despite your doubts, that will. So roll up your sleeves and get moving. Start getting experimental and stepping outside those cozy comfort zones. Stop overanalyzing or waiting for some perfect plan to appear. The perfect plan is simply the commitment to keep taking imperfect action, to keep learning and course correcting each time you encounter setbacks along the way. If you truly devote yourself to that process with discipline and unwavering belief in your potential, I promise you'll experience a miracle unfolding in your life. Little by little, barrier by barrier, you'll shed that limited identity that's kept you constrained. You'll undergo an incredible metamorphosis into the biggest, boldest version of yourself. And from that place of ownership over your power, the possibilities for creating a life of contribution and adventure are endless. My friends, one of the biggest traps we fall into when we get in our own way is the trap of complacency. That sly, seductive voice that whispers you've made it. You've got it good enough as is. Why rock the boat? At first, we hardly even notice it creeping in. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, it starts draining our motivation, our hunger, our zest for more out of life. Before we know it, we've gone from ambitiously chasing our biggest dreams and visions to feeling pretty content to just coast along on the path of least resistance. We start making excuses about why it's too late to take that risk or why now's just not the right time for a big life change. Pretty soon, that voice of complacency has lulled us into a trance of inertia and self-imposed limits. But here's the brutal truth, my friends. Complacency is one of the most insidious dream killers out there. It convinces you that good enough is the same as outstanding, that settling is a fine alternative to keep striving for greatness. And perhaps worst of all, it deludes you into thinking you've gone as far as you possibly can in this lifetime. What a tragic waste of potential. To succumb to the siren song of complacency is to sign your own permission slip for getting in your own way. It's to accept a life of safe, sleepy stagnation over one of vibrant growth and endless possibility. I don't know about you, but the idea of lying on my deathbed with a heart filled with regrets over paths not taken and dreams left unexplored, that thought haunts me. It haunts me in the most powerful, motivating way possible, because it lights a fire under me to never, ever let that insipid voice of complacency infiltrate my spirit and cause me to stop getting out of my own way. You see, I learned long ago that the graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth. It's packed with incredible ideas, unwritten books, visionary business plans, artistic masterpieces, and dreams of every possible shape and size. All of them buried alongside the people who let their limited mindset stop them from giving birth to those visions in reality. Talk about a brutal waste, a soul-crushing tragedy. They let the shackles of fear, doubt, and eventually complacency snuff out that brilliant inner spark before it could ignite into a roaring blaze of creative expression. They got in their own way for far too long before finally giving up their loftiest ambitions altogether. My deepest wish is to avoid being one of those graves packed with beautiful unrealized potential. I want to die empty with not a single gift, talent, or vision left unexpressed and unleashed upon the world during my limited time here. Doesn't that sound like the greatest way to go? Leaving this earth with nothing left in the tank, having squeezed out every last drop of creativity and maximal living you had in you. That's why I'll never stop striving. I'll never stop setting new challenging goals that seem ludicrously beyond my current capabilities. I'll never stop getting intentionally uncomfortable by stretching into the unknown and unfamiliar, even if it means stumbling and flailing around while my wings catch air. Because to stop, to get seduced by complacency and the path of what feels safe and easily achievable, for me, that's the real tragedy. That's death before dying. You see, the universe has this funny way of rising to meet those who commit themselves fully to their loftiest visions. It avails its resources, opens up pathways, and brings the right people into your life to help manifest what seemed impossible when you first conceived of it. But you'll never get to experience those miraculous happenings if you stay stuck in your comfort zones, placing artificial ceilings on your own potential out of fear or resignation. No, the magic only transpires once you make the decision to stop getting in your own way. When you blow up all the limited thoughts and beliefs that have kept you shackled in the cozy jail cell of complacency. Those are the shackles you must repeatedly, defiantly break free from throughout your lifetime, again and again, if you're going to keep soaring rather than stagnating. It takes constant vigilance and a steely determination to avoid the soul-sucking quicksand of complacency. That voice is always there, trying to convince you that you've already given it your all, that you've earned the right to just kick back and relax for a while. And certainly we all need regular periods of rest, recovery, and gaining new perspective after intensely pursuing a big goal. That's not what I'm railing against here. What I'm cautioning you about is letting those natural ebbs and flows fool you into thinking you've hit your ceiling, that you've maxed out on your growth and potential contribution in this world. That's when the complacency demon sinks its fangs in, lulling you into a blissfully numb state where no more huge dreams seem possible or necessary. That's the most perilous form of getting in your own way, my friends. A fate I hope none of you ever resign yourselves to, because I'm telling you, not one of us has even scratched the surface of what's possible, of what we might create on this earth if we just keep chipping away at our limited mindsets and fears cycle after cycle. The human potential for growth, innovation, and leaving an enduring positive imprint on this world we've been blessed with is virtually limitless. That's what gets me so fired up. That's why I'll never stop pushing, striving, and most importantly, getting out of my own way. They say that great people are simply those who have managed to maximize more of their potential than others, not necessarily through sheer talent, but through diligent self-work and steadfastly ignoring all of the psychological barriers and naysayers telling them to know their place, to settle for small goals that feel safer. The great ones are those who have the audacity to keep dreaming big and taking action, no matter how loudly the complacency committee in their head tries convincing them to lower the bar. My call for you today is to have that same courageous audacity to look your complacency tendencies square in the eye and say, not a chance, not today, not ever. I'm not going to sabotage my own infinite potential by letting doubts or small thinking hold me back. I'm going to keep pushing, growing, and evolving into the highest and best version of me at every stage of life. With that type of mindset, complacency doesn't stand a chance of convincing you that mediocrity is an acceptable trade-off for greatness. With that type of mindset, any setback or failure is just a temporary stumbling block to get back up from, not a sign to stop striving and get comfortable on the couch of complacency. And with that mindset consistently embedded in your psyche, you'll keep getting out of your own way year after year, decade after decade, right up until your last breath. So spot those complacency tendencies. Catch yourself whenever you start slipping into the seductive trance of good enough, and then forcefully shake off that trance and ask yourself, what's next? What ambitious vision or daring goal is going to help me deepen my contribution, expand my skills, and leave an even more enduring imprint? Keep asking those types of questions, and I guarantee the complacency demon won't have a chance to lull you into shrinking back into your small self. Instead, you'll keep evolving, thriving, growing into your greatest, most expansive potential. You'll stay fired up and ravenous to keep soaking up knowledge from this great university of life. You'll wake up each day embracing the mindset that no matter how much you've already achieved, there's always another horizon line to strive towards just beyond your current capabilities. That's the unstoppable force that gets unleashed when you steadfastly refuse to get in your own way, my friends. A force that fills your life with energy, enthusiasm, and an unquenchable appetite for maximal aliveness. So set your sights high, Defy the gravitational pull of complacency and decide right here and now that you'll never, ever stop getting out of your own way.